the rule of law or morals at any cost. Together we devoured the road that would take us to the swine, our land's sustenance and poison. It was still dark when we arrived. We swept the area in a series of concentric circles that contracted as we went. Not a soul. Only nocturnal animals for company. We sat down on two large rocks downhill from the guardrail that divided the rest stop from the highway. And we waited. From time to time a noise would shake the silence of the night, and two headlights would pierce the darkness. Only passing cars. And we would go back to waiting. After a few hours we heard a different sort of rumble. A truck slowed to a roll and stopped. A door opened, and shadows scurried along the guardrail and crouched low to the ground. The truck went on its way. A few seconds later, the silence and darkness took over again. I could sense their odors, their thoughts. They weren't afraid. They knew we were expecting them. Then my father's clipped, dry whistle dissolved any possible fear. They'd done it. They were safe. The weight of their misdeeds had now been shifted onto my father's robust shoulders. Tense, I stepped into the open. The swine walked toward us calmly, upright. I'd hoped he would arrive shrunken and imploring, so I wouldn't be forced to show him any respect or mercy. Instead, he held his shoulders back, his head high. He didn't fear us, or so it appeared. And his appearance also said that the most important thing, his family, was now far from him and safe. He wasn't afraid to face us. Trouble was guaranteed, I thought. We approached each other in silence. My father took Luciano's hand, placed it on his shoulder, and led him a safe distance from the road. He did the same with Luigi. Then we took the swine from either side and escorted him over. We would leave at the first light of dawn. And when the time came, my father turned to the swine and spoke to him in a low voice, with a hint of sweetness, explaining that it would be a long journey on foot, that he would remove his handcuffs, that they would stop whenever he felt tired, that he could eat and drink at his every request, and that my father would carry him on his back through the most dangerous stretches. If he didn't cooperate, however, he would be dragged, forced to crawl along the ground. The swine nodded, and we departed. We marched at a pace, and after a few hours my father decided that the others needed to rest. My friends and I did not speak, slapping one another's backs as we came to a halt. I dropped my backpack, took out a hot plate and made coffee. I distributed chocolate and biscotti, and in that forest of oaks bathed in the light April rain, I observed the strange company lazing on the ground, waiting for the mocha pot to perfume the air with its sputters and spurts. The scene was tranquil but for the heavy hood that covered the swine's head. The coffee bubbled up. I poured it into paper cups and passed them around. Luciano was in ecstasy. This was his favorite part of being on the mountain. Whenever he went up, he took long hikes for the sheer pleasure of tiring himself out so he could lie against the trunk of a tree, sip the coffee I made for him, and finally light one of his trademark cigarettes. He always tried to draw out the moment for as long as possible, to savor it even more. After the night he had spent on the truck and the long hike, he was happy to be living life, his cigarette between his lips. We drank the coffee and ate the chocolate. When Luciano languidly tried to light another cigarette, his third, my father snatched it from his lips, and we resumed our journey. The swine walked peacefully, never asking for water or food, and so we arrived earlier than planned. My father set out ahead of us, accelerating his pace, and upon our arrival we found steaming plates of ricotta and whey with toasted bread on the side. We ate in abundance, and even the swine seemed to appreciate the local dish. My father kept guard, while we four, still in our coats, lay on the broom mat by the heat of the gas stove. A few hours later, my father woke us up. The hostage was gone. My father had already taken him to his lodging, he said. We hid our firearms in our camouflage, we changed, we helped him milk the goats, and then set off in the car down the curving pothole dirt road that led into town. The next morning, as always, we took the 6:30 bus to the city, where we sat at our desks at the high school for 5 hours at a stretch to attend lessons. In those times,